Get a little bit closer.
All right, it's getting intimate.
Just don't squeeze your legs together.
My legs are like, I'm in like a split position. All right, we're on. We're good? Okay.
Good.
So I'm Micah.
I'm Carl.
And this is the Broconuts, episode 1. So
Intros.
This is actually the second time we've recorded the episode because first time my piece of shit phone, which is similar to Carl's piece of shit phone, which you're now filming on, didn't pick up any audio. So round 2.
Right.
Why are we called the Broconuts?
Yes, that's where we started last time.
That's where we're going to start now. Yeah, we're going to do it again.
So we are called the Broconuts because when Micah and I first moved into this house, we moved in with 2 other guys who subsequently left on vacation.
And Carl and I didn't really know each other.
We didn't know each other well. And so we spent some time together, went grocery shopping, etc. And it was very quickly that we discovered our mutual affinity for all coconut products.
Coconut oil.
Right, we went through this before, but we'll do it again. Coconut oil, coconut aminos, coconut vinegar, coconut milk, coconut water.
Actual coconuts.
Actual coconuts.
Baby coconuts.
Coconut meat.
Yep. So it got to the point actually where there was like a 2-week period where basically several times a day we were heating up coconut milk with like cinnamon and honey. And I mean, it was just kind of
getting our MCT. Which we will get to all the virtues of medium chain triglycerides later.
Watch this. So, why are we doing this? The Broconuts are entering a bodybuilding competition, and
correct.
We wanted to kind of record the journey and help anybody else who's interested in maybe entering the world do so maybe a little bit more easily.
Right. And do so in a way that fulfills sort of one main criteria that we've established for ourselves, which is that everything we do leading up to the competition is either going to help or be neutral in its effect on our health.
Yeah, so basically, health is number 1 and bodybuilding is number 2.
A close second.
I mean,
right.
We want to be huge and disgusting, but we don't want to be huge and disgusting while compromising our health.
Right.
So, basically, let's maybe talk a little bit about how we ended up deciding to do the bodybuilding competition.
Sure.
It starts with me and a lazy Saturday or Sunday and Netflix. I watched Pumping Iron. If anybody hasn't seen it, it's a classic documentary following Arnold leading up to the 1970-something Mr. Olympia. Arnold and who was the guy that did Incredible Hulk? Lou Ferrigno. Basically, their rivalry. Some other stuff going on, but a lot of it's kind of fabricated if you look into the history of it. But it's still a really fun documentary to see. So I watched that. And I had also just kind of come out of being really, really sick for about a month. So I'd lost a lot of mass. I was just sort of super skinny, and I wanted to put some weight on. So I was researching some new methods as far as, for me anyway, as far as training and so forth, and came across some stuff from Dorian Yates, who we'll talk about that a little bit later, but basically, was kind of becoming more interested in it, and I approached Carl, I guess it was right at 2 weeks ago, and I said, hey dude, do you want any interest in doing a bodybuilding competition? I believe your response was, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually a personal trainer. I've been training for 7 years. And, as you will come to find out, we are both huge nerds, tremendously. And so, when presented with a question, we want to know pretty much everything down to the most fundamental building blocks that are going to help us answer that question. That is no exception in my personal training. product and services, except the only difference here is that I'm really been more concerned with general population clients and looking at things much more fundamental than physique competitions.
Yeah.
So day to day, the application of the research and study that I do is different. It's different. So in the past 2 weeks, Micah and I have done an enormous amount of research, and that's sort of one of the biggest things we want to bring to you guys is we're extremely detail oriented and logical in our thought processes, and we want to give you the benefit of that sort of sequence of thinking and give you all the things that we learn along the way.
Yeah, all the tools that we've picked up in order to to do what we're doing to enter this competition. So let's maybe talk a little bit about where we're at now and where we need to be when it's competition time. So first of all, the competition is at the
what we're going to be referring to as not just the Riviera Hotel and Casino, but the Savory.
The Savory
Riviera Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Las Vegas, July 4th, 2014. What could be more American than bodybuilding?
Bodybuilding, Vegas, and banana hammocks.
Yeah, banana hammocks. So,
right.
So right now I weigh 171.6. That was, well, at least that was the first weigh in 2 weeks ago. I'm 6 feet tall, maybe about 11% body fat.
Yeah, I'm 5'7", so advantages and disadvantages there in comparison. The first weigh-in we did was I did was 159.2, I think.
Yeah.
So since then, actually, I've done a dry weigh-in at 161.2. So that's sort of a more accurate weight, probably.
Getting huge, brah.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
Also you need to know where we're trying to weigh in at the time of competition and the body fat percentage. So basically, we're entering the novice category. We've never done this before. This is totally new for us. And we need to weigh 176 at competition time.
Well, 176 and a quarter or less.
Yeah, or less. Yeah. Between 159 and 176.
And a quarter.
So basically, we need to put on, and we did the math. Basically, we need to lose about 10 pounds of body fat each. We also are going to be coming in fairly dry, so somewhat dehydrated in order to be bigger in the weight class than you otherwise would be able to. So we figure drop our current weights by about 20 pounds and then add as much muscle as you need to hit the top of the weight range. So basically, our goal in 9.5 months...
Yeah, ultimately the top of the weight range, for me, certainly, for Micah, probably not a ceiling, right?
Yeah,
not a ceiling. Ultimately, what you need to recognize from what you just said is this is the healthy way, the healthiest way of putting on the most amount of muscle as possible in the next 285 days and showing up on game day at 5% body fat.
Exactly. Yeah, we want to be super lean. A couple of things, but so I'm shooting for 25 pounds of muscle. Carl's shooting for
the stars for me is shooting for over the top. It is 176 and a quarter at 5% body fat, dehydrated muscle, in a relatively healthy way.
Right, and that kind of brings us to the next point, which is we are absolutely positively not doing steroids.
The 2 pounds of growth that I experienced over the past 2 weeks is not from steroids.
It's from...
or HGH.
Yeah, it's probably just water weight from creatine.
A lot of it's probably water weight from creatine.
So we'll get into supplementation and diet and all that stuff later. But yeah, so our goals are to put on a lot of mass, to do it in a really healthy way, to lose body fat while we're doing it, and to help you guys learn as we go through this process about how to do it for yourself.
And it's interesting you say that. The irony here, and I've been mentioning it to my clients, is that I think typically, and I'll be guilty of this, when people talk about preparing for a bodybuilding competition, a lot of times there is a an assumption that what you have to do to prepare for it is unhealthy.
Yeah.
Or unhealthy in some ways.
And I think the way a lot of people do it is genuinely unhealthy.
True. But so far, based on sort of the things we've implemented with recovery and training and nutrition and supplementation, I can say I'm healthier.
Yeah, I would say that's true. With the exception of some unpleasant shits that some of the supplements that we began taking were giving me. I'm going to be reintroducing them one at a time to determine which the culprit is, because we started quite a few.
I've been a rock star.
He's been a rock star.
But the other thing that I will note is not just physiologically do I feel like I'm making improvements overall to a better to improved well-being, but I've actually now, after years and years of neglect, I'm finally applying some of the really detailed neuromuscular techniques that I use on my clients on myself to fix long-standing imbalances, hip, trunk, shoulder, that I just had never even, I was just, couldn't be bothered to actually take my own advice.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of us are really taking this seriously and doing a lot more stuff to, like one of the most basic things is Carl and I have a deal with each other. If we're not in bed by 10 p.m., then we got to check the clock because we're getting close.
Right, we got to cut this off soon because it is 8:43.
But if we're not in bed by 10 p.m., then we owe the other person $50, and that's in order to ensure that we are getting enough sleep. So anyway, going off on tangents here, but I think maybe we should wrap up by saying, giving a brief overview of what we're going to be doing for nutrition and what we're going to be doing as far as training.
You know what I was thinking is maybe for this episode, let's just do intros.
Well, I'm saying like one-liners.
So sure.
So basically, and then in the next episode, because I think there are a lot of different ways you can train in bodybuilding successfully. So,
right.
But I think
there's a lot of different ways you can eat successfully.
Right. But I think
there's only one way you can sleep successfully, and that is taking a boatload of ZMA. No, I'm just kidding. We'll get into dosages later.
But I think we want to talk about next time nutrition, because I think that's probably the hardest part for most people.
Right.
That's been the hardest part for us so far, is actually just getting enough food. So basically, let's just say that's going to cover our eating habits, which are primarily paleo.
Yeah, we'll go into more detail about that later,
and why that's important, why we were choosing those things, and then we'll also follow up with supplements, and then training and recovery. I don't think that's all going to fit in one episode. So probably nutrition first, then probably training, and then probably supplements.
And keep in mind, I think what we're going to be doing here is sort of like we're giving you those pillars as they stand at the given moment. Obviously, things are going to change as we progress.
Yeah.
But for now, all you got to know is that we're the Broconuts.
Yeah, we're the Broconuts. Good to meet you guys. Hello, this is Steven. Can you hear me?